At first glance, they seem engineered for spectacle rather than science. Skeletons stretching across entire halls, skulls the size of small vehicles, vertebrae stacked like industrial machinery. Many visitors initially assume exaggeration or replication on a theatrical scale. Yet these fossils are grounded in documented excavations, meticulous reconstruction, and decades of paleontological scrutiny. Across American museums, 5 specimens stand out not only for their size, but for how unsettlingly real they are. Some fossils are so large that the brain rejects them before the eyes fully process what they're seeing. A rib cage wider than a room, a skull longer than a human is tall, vertebrae stacked like industrial components from heavy machinery. In several American museums, these skeletons don't just sit in display cases. They dominate architecture, alter walking paths, and shift perspective. They feel exaggerated, almost artificial. Yet every one of them is rooted in documented excavation, mapped sediment layers, and peer-reviewed research. These are not fantasy reconstructions. They are scaled reflections of a prehistoric reality that once existed on North American soil, or now stands within it. What follows is a ranking from number 5 to number 1, moving from impressive giants to the fossil that has become an icon of prehistoric power. Number 5, the Titanosaur, American Museum of Natural History, New York. Inside the American Museum of Natural History stands a titanosaur so long it extends beyond the gallery space designed to contain it. Measuring roughly 122 feet in length, this sauropod does not merely occupy a room, it transforms it. Its neck stretches outward, and visitors often have to walk beneath portions of its body, creating a physical confrontation with scale. The specimen on display is a cast based on fossil material discovered in Argentina, representing one of the largest land animals ever identified. What makes it unsettling is not aggression but mass. Titanosaurs were herbivores, yet they reached sizes that rival small ships in length. The question naturally arises: how could bones that massive support such weight without collapsing? Paleontologists point to internal bone structures, air-filled cavities that reduced weight while maintaining strength. These biological adaptations allowed extreme size without catastrophic skeletal failure. The museum installation emphasizes anatomical realism, aligning each vertebra based on fossil evidence. The result feels almost excessive, as if nature briefly experimented with scale beyond reasonable limits. Number 4, Maximo, Field Museum, Chicago. In Chicago, the Field Museum houses another giant often referred to as Maximo, also stretching about 122 feet. This titanosaur is based on Patagotitan fossils and was engineered using advanced scanning and molding techniques to ensure scientific accuracy. Unlike smaller skeletons displayed in compact halls, Maximo stands in an open space where its full length becomes visually overwhelming. Its torso alone suggests the mass of multiple elephants combined. The limbs appear pillar-like, closer to architectural columns than traditional animal anatomy. The technical complexity behind mounting such a fossil is rarely visible to visitors. Engineers calculate weight distribution carefully, reinforcing internal structures so that the skeleton maintains stability without distorting anatomical correctness. Even though it is a cast, each segment corresponds directly to fossil data. The intimidation factor lies in proportion. A human standing near the femur appears miniature. The skull seems almost understated compared to the torso, highlighting how different sauropod biology was from modern megafauna. The exhibit demonstrates how evolutionary pressures during the Cretaceous period allowed herbivores to become some of the largest terrestrial creatures in Earth's history. Number 3, Diplodocus dippy, Carnegie Museum of Natural History, Pittsburgh. At the Carnegie Museum of Natural History, the Diplodocus known as dippy represents an earlier era of paleontological ambition. Discovered during the intense fossil expeditions of the late 19th century, this skeleton helped define how the public imagined dinosaurs. Diplodocus differs from titanosaurs in build. It is long and comparatively slender, with an extended neck and a whip-like tail that seems to stretch endlessly. Rather than overwhelming with bulk, it overwhelms with extension. Its body feels improbably elongated, almost serpentine in proportion. When first displayed, the skeleton forced museums to rethink spatial design. The sheer length required restructured galleries and influenced architectural decisions. Casts of Diplodocus were sent internationally, shaping global perceptions of dinosaur anatomy. What makes Dippy unsettling is the contrast between delicacy and size. The vertebrae appear intricate and almost fragile, yet together they form a structure that once supported a creature weighing several tons. The fossil stands as both a scientific specimen and a historical artifact from the early days of American paleontology. Number 2. The rearing Barosaurus, American Museum of Natural History, New York. Back in New York, another installation commands attention, a Barosaurus mounted in a dramatic defensive posture. Unlike horizontal sauropod displays, this skeleton rears upward, rising vertically as if confronting a predator. The height alone creates a visceral reaction. Because real fossil bone would be too heavy and structurally risky in such a pose, parts of the mount are casts. However, the anatomical proportions remain grounded in fossil evidence. The scene depicts tension, muscles implied through bone orientation, balance calculated with precision. The vertical stance amplifies fear and awe simultaneously. Visitors looking up see an enormous ribcage towering overhead, with a tail balancing the body's rear mass. The engineering challenge behind such a mount is immense. Support structures are hidden within the skeleton to maintain realism while preventing collapse. The display illustrates how behavior can be inferred from fossils. Although soft tissue is absent, bone articulation suggests defensive capabilities. The Barosaurus does not merely appear large, it appears active, reactive, and aware. Number 1. The Tyrannosaurus Rex, Field Museum, Chicago. The most famous fossil in the United States is Sue, the Tyrannosaurus Rex at the Field Museum. Measuring over 40 feet in length and standing as one of the most complete T-Rex specimens ever discovered, Sue combines scientific value with cultural recognition. Unlike many large displays composed mostly of casts, Sue includes a substantial amount of original fossil material. The bones show signs of injury and healing, evidence that this predator survived physical trauma during its lifetime. Bite marks, asymmetries, and fused vertebrae transform the skeleton from a generic species model into a documented individual. The skull alone stretches over 5 feet in length. Serrated teeth designed for bone crushing line the jaws. The structure of the hips and legs indicates immense muscular power, suggesting an animal capable of rapid bursts of movement despite its size. Tyrannosaurus Rex occupies a unique psychological space in popular imagination. While sauropods overwhelm through mass, T-Rex intimidates through predatory implication. The skeleton's proportions, massive head, powerful hind legs, reduced forelimbs, form a silhouette instantly recognizable worldwide. Sue's discovery involved legal disputes, excavation challenges, and detailed scientific study. Today, the fossil stands elevated in its own gallery space, allowing 360-degree viewing. The presentation emphasizes both the scientific narrative and the raw physical dominance of the animal. Standing beneath Sue, scale becomes measurable in a personal way. The femur alone rivals the length of an adult human. The ribcage suggests lungs capable of fueling a top predator in a late Cretaceous ecosystem. Unlike reconstructions built purely from speculation, Sue's structure is anchored in one of the most complete Tyrannosaur skeletons ever recovered. Among America's enormous fossil displays, many seem exaggerated at first glance. Yet Sue represents the convergence of size, preservation, historical impact, and cultural recognition. It is not only large, it is singular, documented, and undeniably real. If these fossils look unreal, it's because they push the limits of what we instinctively believe nature can build. But every bone, every measurement, and every reconstruction is grounded in real excavation, real science, and real prehistoric life that once ruled this planet at a scale almost impossible to imagine today. From towering titanosaurs to the raw dominance of Sue the T-Rex, These giants remind us that Earth's history is far more extreme than fiction. The next time you walk into a museum and see a skeleton stretching across an entire hall, remember you're not just looking at a display. You're standing beneath something that once breathed, moved, and survived in a world completely different from ours. If you enjoyed exploring these massive fossils, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more deep dives into prehistoric discoveries, and let us know in the comments which fossil surprised you the most.